Good morning. Today I'm very happy to receive Dr. David Bryant Perkins. His websites are davidbryantperkins.com and rainscountyradio.com. We'll discuss about them. Good morning, Dr. David. Nice to meet you online.
Good morning, Sharif. How are you doing?
Fine, fine, sir. First, before we talk about your current and past practices, I would like to know about your background, your interest when you were a young man, teenager, that lead you to study writing and also to create this Rins County Radio.
Okay, well, as far as the writing, that actually started later in life.
Yeah.
I was living in Hamburg, Germany at the time. I was playing chess in the park, and I ran across a guy, like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, he was the German guy that was running around the world doing all these investigating. It turned out he worked for a division of the SS called the Black Sun, which is where all the occult and all that kind of elements went on within the Third Reich. After he passed away, I went to his funeral and met some of his friends, and that's when I said, I got to write this down. At first, I was just like Bugs Bunny going, wow, tell me more. But after I heard all of it, I said, wow, this is a part of World War II that's I didn't hear about. My dad was in the on, but what he was talking about was like, whoa, wait a minute. So I began researching it and writing it. I spent really 30 years doing it. I didn't write the book until this happened in the 1980s. And it wasn't until like 2012, 2013 that I actually finished the book. And of course, everybody that read the book said, wow, this would make a great movie. So I went to talk with some friends who told me to some other people they knew. And basically they said, oh yeah, this is great. We'll give you, so much. And we would like to make, basically they wanted to make some spoof called like Nazis on the Moon or something like this. And I'm going like, look, wait a minute. If you want Nazis on the Moon, I'll write you that screenplay. But this story, I spent 30 years researching it to make sure that it's accurate. And so from that, I had a lesson basically that, well, if you want to get into the film world, don't sell them the rights to the book, write your own screenplay. So I turned the book into a screenplay and had so much fun writing it. Anytime I met somebody with a great story, I started writing those. So that's basically how that all started.
Tell me about the book and how can we find it online? I mean the pitch or the premise of the book, like we say.
Yes, well, everything is on my personal site, which is my full name, davidbryantperkins.com. You can go to books, screenplays, all the other things are there. I did create a site specifically for the book, which is called Hitler. It's just hitlerastrologer.com. But really everything, just go to my regular, my personal website, and it has everything there. Yeah, you can order it there. I did have it at first, have it on Amazon, but I don't know. There was so much shaky deals going on. People would be, I don't know, several other people come up selling the book. And I mean, it was crazy. So I just took it all off and I'm just selling it from myself personally.
Yes, which is better. Can you tell me about like a quick synopsis of the story?
Well, yes. In the same way, if anybody's familiar with the movie Dr. Zhivago, you follow Dr. Zhivago around and you find about the behind the scenes of the Russian, the revolution in Russia in 1917 and all. I follow a figure around named Karl Ernst Kraft because he went with so many elements within the Nazi party. He was hired. He was actually a Swiss astrologer that was hired by Magda Goebbels to alter Nostradamus' text to predict a Nazi victory that would be sent out to magazines all over the world. Then after Peenemünde was bombed, he was very good in, determining, the planetary motion and the type of trajectories that you would need for missiles. So he worked with that part. And of course, he's going in and out of concentration camps and jails because he is actually responsible for Hess flying to Scotland in order to sue for peace after in 1941, because actually when Hitler came to power, this gentleman, Karl Ernst Kraft, did Hitler's horoscope and made 3 predictions. He said, this guy's going to get us in a war in 1939 if Germany and England don't make peace by the summer of 41, then the tide of war is going to go against Germany. And then he said the war would end in 45, but he didn't say who was going to win. Well, Hess was a competent astrologer. His mother was into the occult. He was actually born in Alexandria. So Hess replicated that prediction that Karl Ernst Kraft made. And that's one of the reasons that, like I said, he flew to Scotland in order to sue for peace, because he knew that they needed to make peace by then. And I have it in my book. This is replicated, the fact that after Hess flew to Scotland, Hitler had all of the astrologers in Germany and the occupied areas arrested. And of course, Kraft came up into that. But, they found usefulness anytime they wanted to use them. They pulled him out and made him work for him. And unfortunately, he just died a couple of months before the war ended on a train to Buchenwald camp. So that's it. It centers around him. But it's kind of like Forrest Gump also, is that we get the backstories on all the people that he worked with and whose lives he touched, and as well as some background information on this division of the SS called the Black Sun, how they worked. Like I said, it was popularized in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, because they actually did go to northern India and Tibet in order to, try to find the traces of the origins of the Aryan race.
Yes, this is correct. Can you hear me, sir?
Teacher, they said no, it came from up north, and it was same story: Atlantis, advanced flying machines, all this kind of stuff. And they, that when the island fell, they all went to India and Tibet. So that's kind of why they went to northern India and Tibet.
Yes. Sir, tell me a little bit about, the practice of your company. It is a company or like an association, Instruction and Entertainment Designs?
Well, no, actually, the instructional design, my doctorate is in online instructional design. That is, I design online courses and online classes. I got into that really in my final year of teaching. I worked at nights loading food on the airplanes at American Airlines, and I was able to transfer over into reservations. And this was 1975, and they said, "All right, we're going to teach you how to make reservations." And of course, they had a computer, which was really a big deal. And they sat us in the room. The guy said, "I'm not your teacher. I'm just a facilitator. The computer is going to teach you how to use it. Just press any button." So we pressed a button and said, "Hi, type your name." Typed her name. "Hello, David. Well, now we're going to show you how to do this. Type this." And here I am doing my student teaching, and the computer's teaching me how to use it. And I'm going, my God, teachers are already obsolete. So I knew that computers were going to be involved into that. So when they first started to have, these courses that were online, I always kept up with it. And then finally, while I was teaching high school in Las Vegas, I went ahead and got my PhD in online instructional design. It's a very new field, but as we saw with COVID and everything going on. That's probably going to be doing a lot more of that in the future.
Yes, sir. I want to know, where are you based now? Which state, which part of the United States?
I'm located in Texas. I'm out in the
Texas.
woods, and I'm surprised that we have a good connection right now because normally when I make a telephone call or do a Zoom call, it's pretty spotty. So I feel
Yes,
really grateful that that
yes,
we have a good connection here.
yes. We are lucky today.
Yes, we are, because it is raining.
What I'm asking you, why? Because I want to ask you, besides the people who read the book or read your version of the screenplay, did you try to go to New York or to California? I mean, where the industry and agents, etc., or maybe Florida, to try to pitch it to maybe an actor who could be interested into supporting it through his production company. Somebody you have in mind as well to portray the main character of your book slash screenplay.
Yes, I did that at first. I mean, I naturally entered film festivals, screenplay contest. It did very well, but there just it never came into fruition as far as like somebody picking it up or optioning in that. So I just said, well, maybe it's not time for that. I'll just let that go and just start writing. And that's what I did. I ended up writing since that time over the course of 7 or 8 different screenplays. And actually, the one that I think will probably have the best chance is actually about my college swimming coach. His name is Doug Russell, and he beat Mark Spitz in the '68 Olympics. And yeah, everybody knows Mark Spitz in '72, but he was the first Texan ever to win a gold medal. So, and it's kind of it's a true story. It's based on his life, and it is actually kind of Forrest Gump meets American Graffiti. And I think something like those two films is probably a little bit more, how would you say, uh, um, uh, uh, maybe needed or wanted or who knows what than Hitler's Astrologer, because you have to be kind of deep in history, and I think when a lot more is revealed about what's going on with the CIA and other things around the world, that Hitler's Astrologer would become more relevant.
Yes. Tell me, so you spent maybe 3 decades researching the material related to the story of the book. Tell me about what was the most, strange stuff you found, related to astrology, the occult, maybe some kind of magic, you find related to the Third Reich.
Well, actually, the most shocking thing that I found was America's connections.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the Bush family, Prescott Bush. If I could summarize it briefly, he
Uh-huh.
basically went over there as a banker, gave a lot of cash to the Nazi Party, and then over the course of the war, took a lot of the gold out. So, yeah, there's all kind of, I mean, there's all kind of stuff about the occult. I could go into that. That, in fact, the guy that Hitler dedicated his Mein Kampf book to was the one that actually brought over a lot of the Eastern thought from India. Like, for example, everybody says the swastika. Well, the swastika was a symbol all over the world, but I'm talking about, like, for example, the Nazi salute where they click their heels and the hands go up. That's a lot of that. It's to exert control. It's also by clicking your heels, you're pulling up Kundalini spirit through yourself and then directing it, over to Hitler. So yes, there's a lot of dark forces and stuff on that, and I was sort of familiar with that just in studying a lot of other religions, in my younger years. But I would say really the biggest shock was is the American government and the CIA connection. Even what happened, of course, I not only researched World War II, but what happened after World War II. And of course, everybody's familiar with Operation Paperclip of bringing a lot of the Nazis over. And of course, the thing is you see a picture of Werner von Braun and about maybe 20 other scientists, and they go, yes, we need these scientists for our rocket and our jet program. Well, lo and behold, they brought over several thousand Nazis, and they were all placed in positions in corporations. In fact, one of the head Nazis was the one that was essentially running the Bell helicopter. You got one of them, it was actually an American. He was in the booth with Hitler in 1933, but he ends up being on the Council of Foreign Relations. And also, he was on the Warren Commission concerning the Kennedy assassination. So when you follow some of these figures around that are connected with the Nazi occult, kind of makes you wonder what happens with these guys that are working in America that are related to them as well.
Yes, yes, sir. And I want to know about Rains County Radio. This is a radio that people can hear in your area.
Yes, actually, I was helping a friend out run a local radio station,
Yes.
and he just needed some help, and I said, "Hey, I know a little bit, some ideas. Maybe we could do interviews and different things like that." And basically, I said, "Look, if you're spending this amount of work to do a radio station, and I mean, it was a low power FM, it would only go around Rains County, which is." Rains County, by the way, is the fourth smallest county in Texas. And I said, if you're going to do this amount of work just for this, area, why not put it online so that you can get, more people interested into it? Because we did some really good interviews with, some people of national standing, and besides, figures that are important in the local population. And also to bring back, for example, old radio shows from the 30s. And trying to get some other like call-in shows like, they had one that was popular in the 90s, Kim Commando, where people would call up that were asking about computers. And I thought, well, let's do it on everything: fishing, cars, gardening, have all kind of shows where people can, connect that have those interests in common, besides giving health tips and current events that's not filtered by the mainstream media.
Yes, sir. Tom, have you seen movies where Hitler were portrayed? And if so, what was your favorite film?
Uh, gee. Well, when you say favorite film, the first one that pops in my head is The Matrix. I, I think
Yes.
that's a very profound film because you can take it on so many levels. Every
Mm-hmm.
time you watch it, you see something deeper in it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it also is a nice allegory on what's going on today of a lot of people that are quote unquote asleep or believe the reality that they do based on what they see from television and, what the government and everybody tells them. That's not the reality of what's going on. So, of course, I was interested in horror movies when I was a little kid, but no, I mean, the Matrix to me is just like it's a must read.
Yes, sir.
I think if we're talking about writing, I think the best written, TV show series was Mad Men. I think that's if anybody wants to, get an idea of what good writing is, just on purely drama. That is not a thriller, not an action film, just
Uh-huh.
pure relationship between people. That's probably the best one.
Yes. Yes. What I accidentally as well last, while going downtown and coming back, I watched some videos on YouTube, and accidentally I was watching a couple of videos last week on some stuff related to the matrix. There are a lot of scientists, physicists, and philosophers, that they are thinking that we are living in a simulation right now.
Yes, and I can understand that from if you go to a subatomic level.
Mhm.
Yes, it would look like we're all just because everything's electrical in nature to begin with. We're basically
Yes.
just different. We're all different vibrations. Even something that's physical, if you go down the subatomic particle, it's not really physical. You can actually go through it. And of course, you have with all these people that say they have UFOs and they go through a mountain, and this was even described in ancient Greece with the stories of going back to Atlantis, that they had ships that could fly in the air, and they could actually go through a mountain. I mean, I think what happens is that we missed out on the spiritual aspect of science when they separated science from religion. Science from the spirituality in the 1700s, which was quote unquote the age of enlightenment. But really, all they did was say, well, we're not going to take in any of the spiritual aspects of science. It's strictly physical. So everything, and there was great strides made on that in physical science with Newton and all those people. But I think we lost something in our humanity, only looking at science in the physical term as physical science, instead of looking at the science of the spirituality within people and things.
This is correct. Dr. David, I want to thank you very much for this great interview. I wish you all the best in your work and trying to find production for your screenplay and also on the radio station. I hope my wife would like to come to Texas because her best friend is there in Austin. So we hope we come to see you one day.
Well, you certainly have to. My daughter lives in Austin, so you guys are
Uh-huh.
certainly welcome to have her around. I'm a little bit north of there, but I would love to have you pass through. And by the way, I would love to interview you on Rains County Radio. Let's keep
With pleasure.
our
It will be my
contact
pleasure.
for that. That
Yes,
would
sir.
be a lot of fun.
Will be my pleasure. Yeah, to have myself as a guest in your platform. Looking forward to it, and let's keep in touch. Thank you very much for this great interview, sir.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing for screenplay writers and people in the film industry. It's really
Thank you.
wonderful what you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Have a lovely day. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you too. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.